Chosen one, you have attracted the attention of many people by exposing a powerful and famous person in American society. When leaders like you, the so-called chosen ones, break free from the hidden traps they have been subjected to and reclaim their power, it always causes a huge ripple. This is because your ascension reveals the true intentions of those who once gathered around you, but who were really only focused on exploiting you. You have had a profound awakening with your message. You have now chosen to leave behind the cunningly constructed networks and gatekeepers and seize the opportunities that belong to you directly. This move has shattered the order of those who have been feeding on you for years, materially and spiritually. When you realized that you were providing them with a huge flow without realizing it, and that you were being exploited because you tended to say yes all the time, you severed all ties. The shockwave this created upset the dark plans of those who tried to steal your material and spiritual power from you. Now the leeches are starving. If you are ready to rise from the ashes, claim your God-approved love and take the next step. Press the like and subscribe buttons below and leave a 33 in the comments. Now, chosen one, let's move on. This is a karmic lesson. There is a heavy price to pay for trying to gain wealth by using one whom God has protected. As the chosen one, you have reclaimed the power you had when you were on your own independent path. Those who lost their authority, their position, even the bills they would have had to pay, are now forced to watch your victory. As the chosen ones in this new era, you will grow even more powerful and continue to rise on your own merits. They relied on being close, thinking that as long as they were close enough, they would always benefit from your ascension. They see your success as a fountain that is always open and available to all. You donated without hesitation or question because deep down, you thought they had your best interests at heart. They didn't. They wanted access to your wealth, influence, and the right to claim prior acquaintance. It was a right, not an appreciation. That right is now turning into hostility. They don't know how to function without you. The same people who used to boast about their relationship with you are now belittling your self-centeredness. Their voices are pierced with betrayal and their words are filled with bitterness, not because you have offended them, but because you have stopped serving them. Panic also starts to set in. People who used to contact you every day now avoid giving out your number because they are too embarrassed to admit how much smaller their world has become without you. Leads that used to seem limitless have dried up. You used to be responsible for the rooms they entered and the hands they shook. Invitations are no longer being sent. The focus has diminished. To help plant seeds of faith that will change the lives of countless people, click on the Super Thank button and donate $50 or more. His riches are reflected in your giving. Serve as a channel for His grace and see His kingdom grow through you. The respect they mistakenly believed was theirs, because it was never theirs in the first place, is gone. Now that you have closed the door, they have to face the fact that they were never the source of the money they borrowed from you. They rush to find new landlords and hold on to the next descendant, hoping that no one will notice their desperate situation. But it is too late. They are seen by society as opportunists, fake supporters, and people who only applaud you when you feed them. Without you, they are falling fast because you were their safety net. Enter 77 if you are ready to embrace and rejoice in the incredible transformations God is bringing about in your life. Before you made it, they were telling everyone that they believed in you, smiling in your presence and praising you publicly. They were happy to call you friend, family member, or acquaintance. But behind closed doors, they didn't just observe your rise. They devised ways to manage it. They set up shop at the gates, and anyone who wanted to enter you had to go through them first. Their hands scanned your network. They responded to communications on your behalf, decided which opportunities to seize, and assured others that they would see what they could do to contact you. all the while pushing your success before it reached you. Experience what it's really like to be chosen. You are not alone on this journey. If you believe deep down inside that you have been chosen, you are in the perfect spot. By choosing to join, you can further your relationship with us, access exclusive information, and get the help you need on your spiritual journey. It's not just about joining a group. It's about gaining access to special insights that can change your life and help you get closer to your divine purpose. Make your decision now and join us on this journey. Claim your right to be one of the chosen ones. Sign up today. It is impossible to ignore the power you wield. You became money for them, a product to sell, a resource to broker, a name to leverage. This included money through sponsorships, backdoor deals, and under-the-table payments. You were excluded from the discourse while they lined their pockets. But it went beyond that. It was about power. Their goal was to control the narrative, to ensure that your successes were never possible without their stamp. They wanted to be the reason why you succeeded. The person who was with you in every photo, and who history would remember as the secret of your success. And that worked for a while. They said you needed them to help you find your way in the world, and that it was for your safety. And maybe for a moment you believed it. But soon the situation became clear. Connections that should have been yours, but were blocked. Discussions you never had, but your name was mentioned. Commitments you never made but had to make. They were strangling your light and selling your access to it, not protecting you. Yet they could not have foreseen this turn of events. You have surpassed them. The actions taken in your name without your knowledge, the effects on how others perceive you, the manipulation, the invisible threads they believed you would never notice. You saw it all, and you stopped them, not by announcing it, but by confronting it, by taking action. You stopped controlling, giving them first access, and having them serve as intermediaries. Without them, you opened the doors and suddenly, they lost their place. Without them, they became just another spectator who saw your progress. They were no longer gatekeepers. Every action they took was not to help you, but to control you. And you were not allowed to question their position or to see that every opportunity they gave you depended on hidden conditions. But you realized this and decided to do something about it. You flatly refused, without doubt or regret. You stopped answering their phone calls, stopped letting them approve things that were never theirs, and stopped letting them move money, arguments, and relationships like pieces on a chessboard. They felt it instantly. They knew the change, that their power was gone, that you had thrown away the key and closed the door to their game. They never planned it because until that moment, they believed that you would always feel obligated, that your commitment would prevent you from leaving, that your fear of disappointing others would prevent you from understanding their tricks. But you had lost your fear. You put yourself ahead of their plans. You put your morality ahead of their demands. You rejected their illusion of control in favor of your own power. And when you did that, the whole structure they had built around you crumbled. By entering the 99%, you can claim those benefits that will lead to more opportunities in your life, such as professional success, financial success, business success, health, and all the desires of your heart. Nothing worked, not even guilt, not even whispered threats, not even subliminal reminders that you owe them. Because once you realized what had happened and saw the truth, you couldn't see the trap, and they could not stop you. That's why they panicked. They tried to change the narrative and turn people against you by portraying you as arrogant, ungrateful, and out of touch. They tried to convince the public that your refusal was treason rather than courage. But secretly, they realized that it was not just a rejection, but a declaration that they would never be contained again. As soon as you stopped, they turned around and cut off their supplies. Suddenly, the same tongues that applauded you began spewing poison. The insults were written by the same hands that applauded you. You betrayed them. You did not just walk away. Like smoke from a burning house, whispers circulated through the neighborhood. When they said things like, "You think you're better than us now," not because they believed it, but because they wanted others to believe it. They spoke with conviction. You have forgotten where you came from. You are selfish, ungrateful, arrogant. If they can make you out to be the bad guy, they can rationalize their own resentment. If they can make you look disloyal, they don't have to admit that they are parasites. If they can portray you as having undergone a negative transformation, they can ignore the fact that you left them behind. They wanted you to fail because you refused to be exploited, not because you did something wrong or hurt them. This was unforgivable. So they tried to turn the situation around. Shady social media posts. Some people forget who helped them on their way up. Silent conversations in rooms where you are no longer invited. They have abandoned their roots. Statements that evoke a false sense of concern include, "I don't understand why they behave like this." But what is the truth? Not because you are superior to them or because you despise them, but because you were never meant to be a part of their order. And the moment they realized that they could no longer manipulate you, they revealed their true selves. Let them speak. Their noise is drowned out by your stillness. This was something unexpected for them. They believed they could manipulate you, pull the strings, and plan in the shadows while you danced, that their plans would go unnoticed. They were wrong. This is eating them alive. The stress of their crumbling empire and the weight of their own dishonesty is causing their bodies to betray them. Everything is catching up with them. The stress in your chest, the headaches and restless nights. No matter how hard they try to hide it, their bodies know they have failed. They have lost the paycheck they counted on. Their influence is gone. The power they had has slipped away. They can't stand it. They are rotting from the inside out from the pain. Every breath contains sorrow. Every meal feels like a disappointment. Every mistake, every ill-advised maneuver, every situation in which they believed they had you until they didn't, replay in their memory. The weight of knowing that they have lost you is much more than tension. They can't turn back the clock, reverse the betrayal, or convince you to ignore the truth. And what about this insight? They are destroyed by it. Where your presence remains like a ghost, they attack you, shift the blame elsewhere, and curse your name. However, in their hearts, they realize that they themselves have caused this. They have lost their own control because they tried to dominate you for so long. Let them suffer, because this is what happens when you build your life on deception and greed, not because you want bad things to happen to them. Sleepless nights and illness are not accidental. They are drowning in your cup because they put poison in it. They saw your success as a common fund, not something you earned or fought for, but something they were entitled to. It was not designed for you to reject. You were not expected to question it when the hands reached out again and again. They disguised it as tradition, support, and giving back. However, you felt that every opportunity you opened had unspecified terms, and every check you received had unseen deductions. You were always measured, not just praised. What you could achieve for them was an indication of your progress. It was only worth it if they could get a share of your raise. And when you said no, everything changed. The cheers diminished, the encouragement became sullen, and the edges of the grins tightened. They accused you of losing your roots, said you were selfish, and claimed you had abandoned them. But the truth was much clearer. They were more interested in what you could offer them than in you. And as soon as they realized that you were not going to be their lifeline, they showed how worthless their attachment to you really was. You owe them nothing. Not your resources, not your money, not your shame. If they were really for you, they would have applauded without expecting payment. Let them speak. They have never taxed your prosperity. They played their role perfectly, teary-eyed, betrayed, wronged, and declared themselves victims. They said that it was you who had changed, that you had moved away, that you had turned your back on, and abandon those who made you what you are. But screenshots and the internet never forget. The evidence is everywhere. Emails with numbers, the money they plan to make off your name, private correspondence where they share your achievements like a business transaction, and social media posts that damage your reputation while using it to attract followers. They made every effort to hide it, delete the correspondence, cover their tracks, and retract their statements. But the mask fell, and that was that. People started to see the inconsistencies. The same people who supported them are now going back and reviewing past correspondence, looking for trends and identifying mistakes. They are losing credibility. The more they fight against it, the lower they fall. The more they rush to change the story, the more receipts are revealed. The data speaks for itself, so you don't need to say anything. Let them speak. Let them deny it. Let them pretend they never did what is shown in black and white. As much as they believe they can control it, the reality is coming up against them. They believe that they could use you forever, and that no matter how far you travel or how mature you become, you will always be at their disposal. They gambled their future on your success and built their plans on you. However, you left. They are drowning financially, emotionally, and spiritually. They are pursuing the same plans they had for you. The events they organized on your behalf are not working. The imaginary coalitions they built are falling apart. Their supplies are running out. Their delusion of power was built on you. They got the credibility they flaunt from you, not from themselves. And without you, everything is falling apart. They feel it. The daily phone calls are going silent. The people who once accepted their lies are withdrawing. The money they thought would keep coming in is nowhere to be seen. They know very well why. They can fool others, but they cannot fool themselves. When the turmoil subsides and they start thinking alone, the truth haunts them every night. You were the blessing of their lives. Doors opened for them because of you. Feeding on you was their source of energy. Now that you are gone, they can no longer pretend to be rich. They cannot use manipulation to achieve success. They cannot take the light that belongs to someone else. So, they go round and round. They become paranoid. They start doubting everyone in their inner circle, wondering who is still loyal and who is observing their decline. The remembrance of every missed opportunity and every situation where they took you for granted rots their soul with regret. This disturbs them. They burn out in despair. They try to hold on to fresh energy, new people, and new resources. But nothing is the same since they have lost the real thing. And this defeat? They will live with it for the rest of their lives. You had the choice to fight back. You could have burned every bridge, exposed every lie, and published every receipt with a single statement. But you did not do that, because your next action was about power, not retaliation. Instead of reacting, you rebuilt. You stepped back to watch, not because you were afraid or guilty. Who really stood up for you? Who stayed only to take what they could get? Who needs to be permanently disconnected? The answers came quickly. And once you had them, you took irreversible steps. The way you give back has been recalibrated. There will no longer be an open door for those who come only to dump. Those who see your success as their personal money account will no longer have unlimited access. You have built gates, not walls, through which only true supporters can pass. Your network is more tightly woven. There are no more loopholes for opportunists to exploit. The same people who believed they had unlimited access are suddenly on the outside looking in. Your boundaries have been defined. They label you as cold, distant, and self-centered. Let them. Because while others are running around trying to figure out how to get back into your orbit, you are rising on your own terms. No more deception. No more guilt. No more unearned access. This time you get to choose who sits at the table. What about the people who used to think they had a right to your energy? They don't even hold the address anymore. You feel the burden lifted. There is less energy. The air around you no longer smells of entitlement. When parasites are removed, real relationships flourish. What's left? Not for what they can get, but for you. There are no hidden agendas in conversations. Support is given without expecting anything in return. What's the best part? People wake up. They see that you set boundaries. You walk away and you succeed without them. And some people learn from it instead of hating it. Don't take more. Don't consume more. Don't squander more of what doesn't belong to them. Instead of changing your being, you have changed the dynamic. They believed they had you beat, and they could secure their future by dominating your energy, influencing it and monetizing it. They would ride the wave and you would climb. But they condemned themselves because of their greed. If they had believed in you, they would have stood by you. If they had been loyal instead of sucking like leeches, they would have flourished with you. Instead, they lost everything. They lost the influence they tried to steal. Their access was taken away. The reverence they had shown was exposed. Their death was a consequence rather than a punishment. You didn't have to do anything. They were consumed from the inside out by the same trick they used against you. They were trapped in a life of need by the same greed that caused them to betray you. This is how the universe works. It is a law, not karma or retaliation. You get what you give. What you take without deserving it, you lose. Whatever you try to control will escape. They have lost the game they played. Now, let them observe. Let them feel regret. Let them live in the wreckage of their own decisions, while you thrive without them. They have squandered their opportunity. Please, like this video, subscribe to the channel, and if it resonates with you, share this message with people who need to hear it. Tell us about your experience and how you are preparing for your own triumphant comeback in the comments section below. Don't stop there. Watch our next video for insightful information on the signs that you are the one. We have loved accompanying you on this spiritual journey, and thank you for being with us all along the way. Keep shining brightly and bravely facing your destiny. See you all later.